Hey yo, it's Blessed Elvis and welcome to today's lesson. So in today's lesson we are going to discuss the modulus of functions. So modulus of functions are also known as the absolute modulus functions. So what are modulus functions? So modulus functions are simply the functions which measures the distance from 0 up to n value or of n value. So you can have, let's say you have this. So the point here we know is our initial value, which is 0. So the modulus of functions measures the distance from this point either up to this side or up to that side according to the values that you have been given or that you have in your function. So modulus of function are known as absolute functions because they measure the positivity or negativity of values. For example, if let's say the value of x is greater than or equal to 0, it means that the modulus of this function is going to be what? It's going to be positive value, where this x represents any constant number that you may have. We are going to discuss more examples, so you are going to understand what all this means. So let's say maybe if you have the value of x being less than 0, we know the values that are less than 0 are what? Are negative numbers. If we look at the number line where we have 0 here, let's say negative 1, negative 2, and of course up to infinity values of negatives, even here where we have positive values, let's say 1, 2, 3, up to positive infinity of values, these values here are less than what? 0. So they are all negative values. The values that are this side are positive values, which of course are more than 0. So that's why if the value is greater than or equal to 0, the value always is positive. If you have the value of x less than 0, the value is always what? Negative. So if x, which of course represents n constant number, is less than 0, the modulus of this function then is what? Negative x, because the values that are less than 0 are the negative values. So these modulus functions terminates the negative of a value that you have inside the modulus brackets. So modulus brackets are represented by these. So whenever you see these in a function, it means that function is modulus. So let's say, for example, you have been asked to find the modulus. Okay, let's say, okay, you have been given this as our value, and then you have been asked to find the value of negative 5. So what this means is, in the function that we are given above, where there is x, we ought to replace with what? Negative 5. So in this case, we're going to have the function of negative 5 equals to, even here, we're going to replace with the negative 5. So we're going to have negative 5. So the value of the modulus of a negative number is positive number. So in short, this is the answer. So if you are looking for the modulus of, let's say, negative 4, the modulus of negative 4 is positive 4. The modulus of negative 3 is positive 3. The modulus of, let's say, negative 10 is positive 10. So the modulus terminates the negative number in the brackets and gives you the positive response. So that's how these values are dealt with. So whenever you have a constant value which is a negative value, you always write it in a positive value. So you may be asked maybe to find the modulus function of, let's say, negative 8, and then here they give you negative 8. So I'm sure by now you can answer. So what's the value? Yeah, I'm sure you are correct. So it's positive 8 in this case. So we have positive 8 as our value in this case. So having looked at that, let's now discuss how we can solve the modulus functions. If you have been given the value of a function and then you have been asked to solve it. So let's say in this case, let's look at the first example where you have, let's say, the 2x minus 1, then let's say this equals to 3. So to solve this modulus function, what we do is you write this value that you have inside these modulus functions or inside this modulus brackets. So we have 2x minus 1 equals to, so this one results into a negative and a positive value. So in this case, we are going to have positive 3, or of the same value, we are going to have the negative 3. So whenever you have a function and it's been equated to something here, always you have to equate this value to a positive value and a negative value, then proceed to solving your given expression. So in this case then, we're gonna solve this and this value. So whatever values we're gonna have, those are the values of x. So in this case then, we are gonna have x, and then when this comes to the right side, we're going to have 3, which is this one, and then when this crosses the equal sign, it becomes positive 1. Or when this crosses the equal sign, it becomes also positive 1. So we're gonna have positive 2x equals to negative 3, which is this, and then when this comes to the right side, it becomes positive 1. So in this case then, we're gonna add what we have on the right side, which of course is 3 plus 1, of course we have 4, and then this side, the right side, we have negative 3 added to 1, we're gonna have negative 2. Okay, so let's clear up this. So remember, we have 2x equals to 4, or we have 2x equals to negative 2. So let's divide 2 to both sides so that we find the values of x. So we're gonna have x equals to 2 divided into 4, goes in there 2 times. Okay, and then let's divide 2 also here and 2 in there, so we cancel this and we have x equated to 2 into 2, it's 1, and then we have the negative value there, so we're going to have negative 1. So these are the values of x. So whenever you have been given a function and it's been equated to some other function or a value, you always write the positive or negative of the given or of the equated value. Like in our case where we had 2x minus 1 equals to 3. If you want to solve this, you simply rewrite what you have been given in there, and then you write the positive and negative of this, and then solve the given or the result, the resulted value of the functions that you have after you equate this to positive and negative value. Let's look at another example. Let's say you have 3x plus 2. So you may go ahead and try this one because it's just the same concept. So to solve this quadratic, I'm used to that. So to solve this modulus function, we simply equate this value in here to a positive and a negative of this value. So we're gonna have 3x plus 2 equals to positive 4, or we're gonna have 3x plus 2 equals to negative 4. So we may go ahead and solve this. Alright, so we're going to take this positive 2 to the right side, so we're going to have 3x equals to 4. When this positive 2 goes to the equal sign, it becomes negative 2. Or we have 3x, when of course this positive 2 goes to the right side, we're going to have negative 2. So let's add the values that we have on the right part of the equal sign. So we're going to subtract negative 2 from 4, of course we have 2, or 3x equals to negative 4 minus 2, we have negative 6. So in this case, we divide 3 in there and 3 in there. So we're going to have x equals to 2 over 3. So this is the first value of x. Okay, let's rub some parts which are not necessary in this case, since we are done. Okay, so let's deal with the remaining part. Of course, the remaining part is this side. We have 3x equals to negative 6. So dividing 3 to both sides, we have x equals to 3 into 6. We're going to have negative 2. So in short, our values of x are x equals to negative 2 or x equals to positive 2. So these are the values of x for the, or rather, sorry, we have over 3, even here over 3. So these are the values of x. So obviously you have understood the concept of how simple this is, where you just simply write the positive or negative of the right given function. Now you may have somehow which looks complicated. Let's say you have 3x plus 4, and then let's say you have negative 1 over 2x. So how can you go about this one? Well, this one is even simpler. What you have to do, in short, you rewrite the whole expression the way it is. So you have 3x plus 4 equals to negative half of x. then the other one will be positive of this. So it's just the same thing. So we're going to have 3x plus 4 equals to positive of half of x. So then you go ahead and solve this. So there are many ways you can solve this expression. You can cross multiply here so that you have 2 multiplying 3x plus 4 equals to, you have negative 1 and x here. When you multiply negative 1 and x, you have negative x. So let's do likewise to the other one. So for this one, we're going to multiply also these 2 with 3x plus 4 equals to, when 1 is multiplied by x, we just have x. So that's our resulted value. So this is basically the idea behind solving the modulus of given functions. So let's go ahead and finish it up. So for this one, then we're going to multiply these 2 throughout in here. So we're going to have 2 multiplied by 3x, we're going to have 6x, plus this 2 multiplied by 4, we're going to have 8, equals to what we have here, which is negative x. Okay, or we're going to have 2 multiplied by 3, of course it's the same thing. On the left side we have positive 6x, and then 2 multiplied by this 4, we're going to have positive 8. Okay, of course this is equal to positive of x. So let's go ahead and finish it up. So we're going to take this value here to the left side, since we have x here and x there. So in this case we're going to have 6x. When this comes to the left side, it's going to become positive x. And then when this positive 8 comes to the right side, it becomes negative 8. Or we're going to have 6x. When this x comes to the left side, we're going to have negative x. So here we are just simply correcting the like terms. When this positive 8 comes to the right side, it becomes negative. So in this case, let's simplify this. So we have 6x plus x, of course it's 7x, equals to negative 8. Okay, or we're going to have 6, rather let's subtract. So 6x minus x, we're going to have 5x, equals to what? Negative 8. Okay, so in this case, we are simply simplifying. It's just the same thing, but in this case, we just had a fraction. So let's divide 7 to both sides. So in this case, we have x equals to negative 8 over 7, or let's say we have, in this case, we have 5x, so it's 5 over 5 there. So in this case, our x also equals to negative 8 over 5. If you want, you can simplify this further, but even ending it at this point is okay, but this is an improper fraction, so we have to leave it as a mixed fraction in this case. So 7 into 8, it goes 1 time, then remainder 1 over 7. Okay, this is the value. Or x equals to 5 into 8, it goes how many times? 1 time, remainder what? 3 over 5. So this is another value of x. So we have two values of x, which of course this one and this one. So this is basically the solution to that expression we had. Okay, now in this case, let's say you have been given maybe more than 2 modulus functions, or rather maybe more than 1 modulus functions. Let's say you have 2x, maybe let's say plus 3, equals to another modulus function. In this case, let's say you have negative 3x plus 4. So how can we go about this one? So in this case, the same concept applies. So firstly, you write the positive of this value, and then secondly, you write the negative of this value. So we're going to have 2x plus 3 equals to negative 3x plus 4, or we're going to have the negative of this. Of course, we're going to have 2x plus 3 equals to negative of the function that we have, which of course is negative 3x plus what? Plus 4. Okay, plus 4. Okay, rather let me just write that properly. Okay, so we have negative 3x, then plus 4. Okay, so in this case, let's now simplify this. So for this one, of course, we have this which has x and this which has x, so we can correct the like terms. So we're going to have 2x. When this comes to the left side, it becomes positive 3x equals to, here we remain with what? 4. So it's going to be 4. When this comes to the right side, it becomes negative 3. Or here we have 2x plus 3 equals to, so this negative multiplied by the negative inside the brackets, we have positive 3x. And then this negative multiplied by positive of 4, we have what? Negative of 4. So let's simplify. So this 2x added to 3x, we're going to have 5x equals to 4 minus 3. When we subtract, we're going to have 1. Or even here, let's correct the like terms. So this 3x and 2x are like terms. So we're going to have 2x minus 3x. When this 3x comes to the left side, it's going to become negative rather. So here we remember we have what? Negative 4. When this positive 3 comes to the right side, it becomes negative 3. So in this case, we can divide this 5 to both sides. So on the left side, we are done. We have 1 over 5. This is a proper fraction since a smaller numerator is there. So here, let's simplify this. 2x, when we subtract 3, we're going to have negative x equals to, when we subtract negative 4 from negative 3, we're going to have negative 7. Okay, so let's maybe wrap the top part here since we no longer need it. Okay, so in this case, this is basically how we simplify these expressions. Hopefully you are writing somewhere so that it may be easier for you to revise. So remember, we already have found the value of the first one, which of course is 1 over 5, or we have negative x equals to negative 7. So what we can do is simply divide negative to both sides and then cancel them out. So we remain with what? X equals to positive 7. So these are the two values of x. So this is basically how we simplify. Even if you have been given two modulus function, you write the positive or the negative of this value here. You just remove the brackets. So this is basically the idea behind doing these modulus functions. Let's look at another example. What if you have been given, let's say 5x, okay, 5x, maybe let's say plus 3 equals to, let's say 3x, and then let's say you have minus 5. So how can we go about this one? So the first thing to do is simplify this, okay? Yeah, you have to simplify it. After you simplify it, then you deal with the rules that you have been dealing with. So in this case, we have this and this have the same values, so we can simply evaluate them. So what we're gonna do is collect the like terms. So we're gonna have 5 modulus of x, and then when this comes to the left side, it becomes negative 3 modulus of x equals to, here we remain with what? Negative 5. And when this comes to the right side, it becomes negative 3. So what is 5 subtract 3? We're going to have 2 modulus of what? X equals to negative 5 subtract 3. We're going to have negative 8. So in this case, since we have a scalar number here, we can simply divide it and also there. So we're going to have modulus of x equals to 2 into negative 8 is negative 4. So in this case, we have the modulus of x equals to negative 4. So how can we find the value of x for this one? Well, it's very simple, like we have been doing. You simply write the same value and the opposite of each sign. So we're going to have x equals to negative 4, or we're going to have x equals to what? Negative multiplied by negative, of course, is positive. So these are the values for the given expression that we had. So you first simplify what you have been given. If you have been given more than 2 modulus functions, you simply simplify and then do the things that we have been doing. So this is the simple part about solving the modulus functions. You can have even quadratic functions, or you can have polynomial functions. You can have, let's say, x squared, let's say minus 3x plus 9 modulus equals to 3. So for you to solve this expression, it's very simple. You simply have to write the positive and negative of this, like we have been doing. So in this case, it has to be x squared minus 3x plus 9 equals to 3, or x squared minus 3x plus 9 equals to negative 3, right? Yes, negative 3. So you have to solve this and this. So let's do that. So in this case, we're going to have x squared minus 3x and then positive 9. When this comes to the left side, it becomes negative, and here we remain with a 0, or x squared minus 3x and then plus 9. When this comes to the left side, the 3 here, it becomes what? Positive. So positive 3. And then we remain with what? 0 on the right side. So for the sake of space, I won't write, but you can just write equals to 0. So in this case, then, let's simplify it. So we're going to have x squared minus 3x plus, what is 9 minus 3? That is 6 equals to 0, or x squared minus 3x. What is 9 plus 3? That is 12. Equals to what? 0. So these are quadratic functions. So you can solve them using whatever method that you are familiar with, either formula method, you can use also factorization method. You can also use the completion of the square method, or any other method you can use, whatever method you are familiar with when it comes to solving the quadratic functions or equations in this case. So go ahead and try this one, and then comment your answer in the comment section. I hope that you have enjoyed and learned something. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video and share, so that you can see more content such as this one. Otherwise, it's been Elvis here. Stay blessed.